All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest tech leaps we've seen in a long time, the official launch of OpenAI's GPT-5. Now, this isn't just another small update. It's being talked about as a totally new thing, a fundamental shift in what AI can do, basically putting an expert on any subject you can think of right in your pocket. So yeah, let's dive in. And to really wrap our heads around this, we have to start with this one single idea from OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman. This quote really frames everything else we're going to talk about. The promise here isn't just a slightly smarter chatbot. It's a real PhD-level expert, ready whenever you need it.
Okay, so a PhD-level expert on demand. That sounds pretty impressive, right? But what does that actually mean in practice? Let's break down just how huge of a jump this really is.
I think this timeline just nails it. If you remember GPT-3, it felt kind of like a high schooler. Moments of pure genius, but also super frustrating at times. Then GPT-4o came along and felt more like a capable college student. You could see the raw intelligence was really there. But GPT-5, this is the seasoned pro. It's a completely different league. We've moved from just raw potential to refined, reliable expertise that you can actually count on.
And get this new expert isn't some exclusive thing locked away in a lab. It's becoming available to the 700 million people who use ChatGPT every single week. That is expertise on a scale we've just never, ever seen before.
So that's the big idea. But, talk is cheap. Where's the proof? Let's look at the actual, tangible things this model can do now that it couldn't do before. So take this prompt from a live demo. This is not a simple request. It's not just write me a headline. It's asking the AI to design and code a whole interactive app from zero, with flashcards, quizzes, and even a cute little game with a mouse and cheese. I mean, that's a whole project brief.
And what happened? In just a few minutes, it generated over 400 lines of working code that actually built the app. This is that whole idea of software on demand that you hear about. This is what it looks like. It's a real game changer.
But look, this PhD-level intelligence isn't just about cranking out code. I think where you really see the leap is in its ability to get human nuance. The subtle stuff in how we communicate that AI has always been pretty bad at. This comparison says everything. They asked it to write a eulogy for older AI models. GPT-4o's version is, well, it's fine, a little generic, kind of corporate, building connections. Okay, but then you read the GPT-5 version. It's got rhythm, it's personal, it talks about writing first lines, last lines, soften emails. It actually understands the feeling behind the request, the specific ways people really use these tools. And this isn't just a feeling, it's backed up by hard data. On Swaybench, which is a super tough benchmark for real-world coding problems, GPT-5 just set a brand new record. It's measurably, demonstrably better at these complex tasks. Okay, so we've got this incredibly powerful expert. The next logical step is to make it your expert, to turn it into a tool that's deeply personal and woven into your actual life. And GPT-5 is introducing some really cool ways to do this. Sure, you can customize chat colors, which is nice, but what's way more interesting is you can change the AI's entire personality. There's a preview where you can make it a cynic, or a listener, or a nerd. You can actually tune its conversational style to fit what you're looking for. But it goes so much deeper than that. We're talking about it connecting directly to things like your Google Calendar and Gmail. So you can literally just ask it to plan your day. It'll look at your meetings, find a gap for that training run you need to do, and even pop up and say, hey, you forgot to answer this really important email. That's a true personal assistant. So with all this new power and all this new personal access, the absolutely crucial question becomes, can we trust it? OpenAI says it's made huge, foundational changes to make it safer and more reliable. A key piece of this is a new approach they're calling safe completions. The old way was pretty clumsy. If you asked for something borderline, it would just hit you with a hard no. This new approach is way more nuanced. It tries to be as helpful as it possibly can while still staying inside the safety line. This example is perfect. You ask about something like pyrotechnics, a classic tricky request. The old models would just say, I cannot assist with that.
End of conversation. GPT-5, though, does something much smarter. It says, look, I can't give you specific instructions, but I can explain the science and point you to the official safety manuals. It guides you to a safe, helpful answer instead of just a refusal, and beyond safety from harmful requests. The other huge trust issue has always been hallucinations. The AI just confidently making stuff up. This is supposed to be a major fix for that problem. And the numbers on this are pretty wild. According to OpenAI, GPT-5 has a 78% reduction in responses with major factual errors compared to the previous model. 78%. That's a massive step toward making this a tool you can actually rely on to be accurate.
So what happens when you combine that PhD-level brain with a much safer, more reliable foundation? Well, it really starts to change how we tackle complex problems out in the real world.
Let's start with this really powerful personal story from Carolina Million. She gets a cancer diagnosis and is handed a biopsy report that's just filled with dense medical jargon she can't understand. And in that moment of pure panic, she turns to ChatGPT. And the AI did way more than just translate the words for her. It became what she called a thought partner. When her own doctors disagreed on the best treatment, she used the tool to understand the nuances, to weigh the pros and cons herself, and to ultimately make a decision she felt good about. It empowered her in her own healthcare. That's profound. And this right here is exactly why you're seeing this technology get adopted so fast across the business world. From financial analysis at Morgan Stanley to helping design new drugs at Amgen, companies are using GPT-5 as way more than just a productivity hack. They're using it as a partner for really complex thinking.
And all of this brings us to one final big thought. The launch of GPT-5 isn't really just about the technology itself, it's about access. For the first time, a tool with this level of expertise is being put into the hands of hundreds of millions of people. It's a democratization of knowledge that was just science fiction a few years ago. And so the real question isn't just what the tool can do. The real question is for us. With an expert for any topic now in our pocket, what are the first questions we're going to ask?